Hey everyone, welcome to another practice. In this one, we're going to practice the import module and essentially use modules to create a simple program. So what we're making here is a simple heads and tails program. Essentially, whenever we run this, it's going to give us heads or tails randomly, and that's it. It's a pretty simple thing, and we're going to build it. So this is going to require you to use a few things. The first thing, you want to use the random module itself, so that's very important. So you want to import the random module. As I said, like, you just want to import a random module first, and then you want to assign a random 1 and 0 to a variable, and then use if and else statements to print heads and tails. So like, again, it's a pretty simple thing if you think about it a little bit. It's like literally 4 or 5 lines of code, and we can pretty much do it very quickly. So as always, the code is in the resources section. You can actually access the replit file, and you can just fork it for yourself to start using it. So make sure you do that. Take some time, think about it, and I'll see you in a second. All right, so hopefully you try to do it by yourself and you actually made some progress. Even if you made some errors, it's completely fine. We all make mistakes, and that's the whole point. We want to learn, right? So with that being said, let's get into it. So I'm going to import the random module first. So that's what we're doing, the first thing, right? And you want to import it on top of the code. That's very, very important. And then random side, we're going to give it a we're going to give the random side essentially a variable, and I'm going to call the random function or the random module, and I'm going to rand int. So essentially what is happening with this is that we assign the variable, we called the random module, and then we called this function within this module. So, and then we say 0 and 1. So we're essentially asking for a random number between 0 and 1. And this is an integer, right? So it's not a float, so it's just going to be 0 or 1. So that's it. So that's our random number. If I print this, or actually random side. So if I print this, here's what we're going to get: a 0 or a 1, either one of those. There you go. So see guys, we got a 0 or 1. Now let's actually put it into some text, right? So we're going to use an if statement. I'm going to say if random side equals 1, we're going to say print heads. Else, if it's 0 essentially, right, we're going to print tails. So just like that, we gave it a value, right? We said, hey, if it's 1, you're going to say heads, and if it's anything else, which is 0, you're going to say tails. So pretty simple. And if I run this, we're going to get heads or tails. Hopefully we get a tail. Not yet. All right, there we go. No heads. Wow, there you go, we got a tails. All right, so that's pretty much it. As you see, very simple stuff, really nothing too complicated, but I just wanted us to use the import function and also the random module essentially to call something, so we kind of get familiar. As I said, there are hundreds, I think there are about 100 more like different modules of Python that you can import into your program, and it's just based on your use case. And this is something that, again, as a programmer, you don't need to memorize anything, all these like modules or things like that. You just need to memorize what the important like basic functions are, right? Nothing else. So we'll talk about that later on, but again, we'll talk about more modules as well in the future. You're going to see it more in action, and that's like the best way to really learn anything, to put it in action. Because I've been doing Python programming for like almost 3 years, and I actually still don't know all the modules, because there's like the way you use modules is that it's more like a use case thing, and you don't have to like learn all of them. You just like learn as you build something. So it's just something to remember. You don't have to learn every single module in the Python to become a good programmer. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. Make sure you practice this. Again, I want you to just use your skills to just type, like maybe make it something a little bit more interesting, more interesting messaging. Get creative with it if you want. And really, I want you to get into coding and just code. That's really, really important. That's the best way to learn anything. So let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'll see you in the next lesson.